Rejoice. And again I say, rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say, rejoice. I'd like to continue my theme of the resurrection. There's power in the word. I'd like to speak with you for a very few minutes from the Gospel of John, verse 11. Now a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary, and her sister Martha. This Mary, whose brother was sick, was the very same one who poured perfume on the Lord and wiped his feet with her hair. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, Lord, the one you love is sick. Now when he heard this, Jesus said, this sickness will not end in death. I'm sure that those around him didn't understand why he didn't immediately pick up and go. But Jesus continued to explain, to say, no, it is for God's glory that the Son of God will be glorified through it. Now, Jesus loved Mary, Martha, and her sister, and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was sick, but he stayed where he was for 2 more days. Down to verse 17. On his arrival in Bethany, Jesus found that Lazarus had been in the grave for 4 days. Now, both Mary and Martha loved and were both loved by Jesus. However, their perspective, their approach to this heart-rending experience was very different. Verse 24 tells us that Martha understood the abstract of the word resurrection, but it was something far off in the distance for her, not for today. So when we come to verse 25, we see that again, Jesus explains, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Oh, yes, Lord, she explained. I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God who is to come into the world. But again, you see, she had a futuristic perspective. I understand you're the Messiah. I understand you're the Son of God, and that you stepped out of eternity to come and dwell among us. But I don't understand that you have power to raise the dead today, right here with us. Now, Mary also loved Jesus, but her only desire was to sit at his feet. And the verse 32 says, Lord, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. But we go on to verse 38. Jesus was very deeply moved, and so they came to the tomb. It was a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. And Jesus said, take away that stone. But Lord, Martha said, by this time there's a bad odor, because he has been there for 4 days. And Jesus said, did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. And Jesus looked up and said, Father, I thank you that you heard me. I know that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me. And when he said this, Jesus called out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. The dead man came out. He was still wrapped with his hands and feet with strips of cloth and a cloth around his head. And I want to leave you with 3 thoughts. Number 1, Jesus exercised the resurrection power of the word when he said, Lazarus, come out. The word was targeted, specific, and intentional. Number 2, Mary and Martha had 2 very different perspectives. But Jesus, and he does this, he met them where they were and took them to where they wanted to be. He spoke to them in the power of the word. And number 3, when he had said this, Lazarus, come out, the dead man came out. His hands and feet were still wrapped, and there was a cloth around his head. Jesus said, I love the King James that says, Take off the grave clothes and let him go, or loose him and let him go. You see, Jesus had executed one of the greatest miracles of his ministry, but he also involved others who were present in the fulfillment of that miracle. Yes, he is a promise keeper. Ha! Yes, he is a way maker and a miracle worker. He is the light in the darkness. That's just who he is. And since we are created in the likeness and image of God, we also have power of the word to loose our brothers and sisters from their grave clothes by speaking the word in prayer, speaking words of encouragement, speaking the word to bring this siege of this deadly virus to a dead halt. Speak the word to give knowledge, wisdom, and strength to the medical community so that they can do what God has given them to do. Speak the word to raise up the love of Christ. Speak the word so that the joy and the peace of the Holy Spirit is resident in our lives. You see, Resurrection Sunday is coming very soon, very soon. So God bless you and keep you in the power of that is resident within you. There's power in the word, y'all. Amen.